All right, well, Major Garrett joins us now from our Washington bureau. All technical difficulties have been fixed up. Major, let's talk about these numbers. Carson has been leading in the field in Iowa recently, but now he's actually beating Trump nationally for the first time. What do you think is behind Carson's surge? I'm trying to figure out, is Trump losing support, or is it that Carson's gaining support?
Okay, there's two dynamics in this race that are constant. The names that represent those dynamics have shifted. I'll get to that in a second, but the dynamics remain the same. Republican primary and caucus voters are still looking for a pure outsider, someone completely outside of politics, either at the state level or the federal level. That was true of Donald Trump. It's true of Ben Carson. They're also looking for somebody who has a biography and a personal story they relate to and who doesn't appear to need a lot of cash from typical political campaign contribution sources. Donald Trump has his own money to draw upon. Ben Carson raises a lot of money from very small donors. So those dynamics are all the same. Now the personalities at the top of this race appear to have shifted. For about 3 months, it was Donald Trump dominating this race nationally: Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada. Now we have evidence, 3 different polls in Iowa putting Ben Carson solidly in the lead, and 1 national poll putting him ever so slightly ahead of Donald Trump. The outsider dynamic is the same, but Ben Carson's biography, his quieter temperament, and his sense of being, I think, a little bit less exhausting to listen to over time is probably helping him. That's reflective in the national poll numbers. I think the temperamental side of it is. In Iowa, he's always had a very solid organization. That organization is only getting more and more numerous in terms of the places it is involved in Iowa. And the idea that Ben Carson is a legitimate candidate is now sort of thoroughly spread throughout Iowa, so people who were maybe inclined are now moving more solidly in his direction. Those are the trend lines in Iowa and also nationally.
Major, another big headline from the poll: Donald Trump has lost support in every demographic in the poll in the past 2 weeks, and Ben Carson has gained. So what does this mean if you're Donald Trump going into the next debate?
What it means is you have some problems that are structural and some problems that are at the margins. The structural problems are maybe you're wearing a little bit thin with Republican voters. Maybe there's something about your personality, your temperament, you come on too strong. Maybe you lack enough specifics. There's something going on, because if you're losing ground in every demographic group, there is a larger trend. Now, in some areas, it's a larger loss than others. In the others, it's maybe the margin of error. But everywhere, there is at least some decline for Donald Trump. And Ben Carson appears to be inheriting most of that shifting support. Again, it's that outsider dynamic, pure outsider, not like an outsider governor like John Kasich or Chris Christie, both of whom have lots to say that's not altogether complimentary of Washington, but a pure outsider, someone completely outside of the political dynamic. That interest that Republicans have in somebody so far outside of politics remains. The personalities are shifting. One other thing I think that's important about Ben Carson is his demeanor is not only quiet, but his slogans are also quiet and welcoming. Heal is a big part. Renew is a big part of his campaign sloganeering. Heal and renew, those are very soft concepts, very welcoming. Hard for people to sort of recoil from the idea of renewal or healing. Make Great America Again is also something that's very attractive, but it's a little harder than renew and heal. I think Ben Carson is definitely marketing himself as the softer, calmer alternative to Trump, and it appears to be working.
Turning to Jeb Bush, you talk about the outsider candidates, and a lot of people have said that there are 2 groups of candidates here, the outsiders and then the more establishment candidates. Jeb Bush, though pretty low down in the polls overall, is in that insider candidates group, and his campaign seems to be turning an eye towards another insider, Marco Rubio. Some of his advisors have even called Marco Rubio a GOP Obama. I'm wondering how you think that's going to play out tomorrow night.
Well, it'll be interesting where Jeb Bush, who does he attack first? Does he go after Donald Trump? Does he go after Ben Carson? Does he go after Marco Rubio? How does he make himself relevant and interesting in this conversation? His campaign is in a low-level crisis. Donors are very frustrated about all the money they've provided and what little has come of it for Jeb Bush. And why this sudden fascination with Marco Rubio? It's not as if Marco Rubio is someone brand new to Jeb Bush or his team. They used to be friends, political colleagues. But the Jeb Bush campaign now understands if it doesn't win Iowa and New Hampshire, and it has to be honest with itself, the chances of that are getting thinner and thinner. And what if it loses South Carolina? Then its only hope is to break out with a victory in Florida. Well, who stands in the way in addition to Donald Trump and Ben Carson? Marco Rubio. So if Jeb Bush wants to become the establishment alternative to whether it's Ben Carson or Donald Trump, he's got to get Marco Rubio out of the way. That's why there's this renewed focus on Marco Rubio. And the essential line of attack from the Jeb Bush campaign is Rubio is too young, too inexperienced. He's got a great story. He's got a great look. He has a great sound, just like Obama. So Republicans, if you think the country got fooled by a young, upstart, aggressive, interesting, charismatic senator once, don't be fooled a second time. That's the line of attack.
Major Garrett, thanks a lot for your analysis.
You got it.